Hello everyone, my name's Tom the taxi driver, and today I'm with Jack from Living London History. We are going to do a little game of, well, I Spy.
I Spy, penalty shootout.
Something along those lines. Basically, we're going to test each other on our historical knowledge of London. I'm hoping that as Jack's tour guide here in London, I should hopefully be able to learn a thing or two. Let's go. Okay then, Jack, so we're in a little bit of traffic. You're quite rightly the guest, so you can take the first move, I guess. So, here's how the game's going to work. We're going to take it in turns. Jack's going to go first, and he can point and look at anything in the immediate vicinity of the cab and make some kind of a cryptic clue about it. Because if he can introduce some kind of a fact that I don't know the answer to, then he gets the point. However, if I can intercept his fact and know exactly his line of inquiry, then I effectively save the penalty. We'll do this for as long as it needs to go on until we have a clear winner.
So from here you can see Nelson's column with the four lions around it. They're known as the Landseer lions. Do you know what body part is slightly different? Thought to be slightly different on those lions?
Oh, my heart is going now. I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to have to concede. I don't know that one. No.
So the story goes that Edwin Landseer, when he was designing it, he was using a dead lion from London Zoo to sort of model them on. But by the time he'd got to the feet, the lion had sort of decomposed so much that he had to use a sort of pet cat for the feet. So the feet kind of look much more sort of domestic cat-like rather compared to the rest of the lion. So there you go.
That's brilliant.
That's for you.
I'm going to have to look at those intensely. Right, wicked. That's 1 point to you, Jack. Well done.
Thank you.
Right, this might be really obvious, but I just want to get one out there and just maybe test the waters. So we're coming down Charing Cross Road and we are near the Strand, or Strand. Now, Strand is a Germanic word.
Yeah.
And in the German language, do we know what Strand means?
I do know that one because I do a tour of the Strand actually. So Strand, it comes from the Old English or Germanic word strand with an O, which meant beach.
Bosh.
Or sort of a shoreline, so.
There we go, I was testing
the water.
There we go. So he deflected that one, so still 1 to you, Jack.
You got the statue of Charles I on the right. Do you know why that sort of disappeared for a while? In the 17th century.
In the 17th century, why it would disappear? My only guess would be possibly for Oliver Cromwell, when his tenure of Lord Protectorate.
Yeah, exactly. So it was put up in 1633, I think, if that date's correct. It was put up during the reign of Charles I, but taken down when Cromwell and the Puritans were in charge as a symbol of the monarchy. But the guy who was actually in charge of destroying it actually just hid it for, however many years, 15 years or so.
Wow.
And then after the restoration of Charles II, he said, oh, actually, I didn't destroy it. It's been in my back garden, and so they could put it back up, and he sold it back to them, so he sort of got double money for the job, which was a pretty shrewd business decision.
So using Charles II's good books then?
Yes, exactly. But also what he'd done, which is quite funny, he had sold like knives and forks, pretending that they were created from the metal, from the melted down statue. So again, he sort of made money 3 times off this job. So a true Londoner, I think.
I already feel really outpaced. The glorious dead is a quote that's on the Cenotaph here. The quote was by a famous author who's known for the author of the Jungle Book. Do you know who that author is?
That would be Rudyard Kipling.
I just batted it away. I feel like I'm going to have to come on one of your tours, Jack.
Yeah, definitely. Come along. You're welcome any time. Do you know what the newest statue on Parliament Square is?
I'm going to get the name wrong. Dame Millicent Garrett Fawcett.
Yes, correct, yeah. So, 2018 that one went up. She was a suffragist put up under Theresa May, I think, 2018.
Right, I didn't know it was Theresa May. That'd be quite fitting, yeah. Okay, so outside of Parliament Square, there is a statue of Abraham Lincoln, which at the time it was raised represented 250 years of friendship with the United States. Do you know the prominence of why it is situated in this location? Oh, come on.
Do I know the prominence? I don't think I do.
Have a little look at the buildings round it, maybe.
Oh, right. Well, it's in front of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Is it to do with that?
It is, yeah. So before becoming president...
Yeah.
Let me get these dates right, or what everything right is. So
I'm very intrigued to know this.
He was... Abraham Lincoln was on, I believe, on a court of appeals, or as a judge. He practiced as a... I was a judge or as a lawyer. I don't know how tenuous this is, if I'm even going to get the point here. Prior to becoming president of the United States.
Right.
So it's to do with his legal career prior. So that was the prominent location. I think it's on the final court of appeals, which is, of course, the Supreme Court is our last court of appeals.
Yes. Okay.
We'll fact check that.
There we go. Well, we can see the Elizabeth Tower from here. Of course, or Big Ben, as it is probably most commonly known. They've made a change to the clock face. Obviously, it's been recently restored.
Yep.
Do you know what that change is?
The clock face itself?
The clock face, yeah. So the scaffolding came down,
yep.
I don't know, coming up to about a year ago.
Well, no, they changed the colour of the hands, but it wasn't so much changing the colour. Is that what he's after?
Yes, that was what I was after.
So they... Okay, you explain it, go on.
They've restored it to a sort of dark blue instead of black, so the dials and the numbers on it.
Do you know the blue?
To a blue, yeah.
Do you know the blue?
Do I know what the type of blue is?
Yeah.
Ah, is this your next one?
No, it's not my next one. I just want to add to your... Yeah.
No.
Prussian blue.
But yeah, so they basically did some samples. They did some tests on the samples that they took, the paint samples, and realised that it was originally blue when it was finished in 1850. They've restored it to its original state because it had been repainted black in the 1930s to stop pollution showing up on the clock face.
I didn't know it was repainted black, though. I just assumed that was just pollution that had gone onto it. But
I think that they were worried that the soot was going to show up on it, so they thought, right, solve that problem, we'll just paint it black.
Right, okay. Do you have to go somewhere later on? Can we just do London facts all day? Can we not play this game? Can you just tell me the facts?
Yeah, we'll just sit here, we'll have a cup of tea.
I love doing these collaborations with other YouTubers because it allows me to get out of the cab and be a bit more social. Because driving a cab, doing some of these videos and stuff by myself can be a little bit lonely. That's where the sponsor of today's video comes in, and that is BetterHelp. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapists. That way, BetterHelp can link you with the best therapist for your needs. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions at whenever it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, then you can switch to a new therapist for no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you'd expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who's custom fit for you, more scheduling availability, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Tom Hutley. That's betterhelp.com/Tom Hutley. I've also linked them down below in the video description. Now, let's get back to our challenge with Jack. Oh wow, I've driven down here, I ain't got anything down here. Oh wow. Maybe I could put a geographical spin on it, that will throw him off. So on the left is a statue for the... He said household cavalry.
It's World War I, isn't it?
The king. Let me just look at it. There we go. Yeah, the household division for World War I, but it's the regiments of the King's Foot Guards. They're made up of course, there's 5 regiments that make up the King's Guards. Do you know which one is the most prominent in order of precedence? So which one comes first?
Blimey. Is it the Life Guards? Are they the top one?
So they're the Horse Guards.
They're the Horse Guards.
Sorry, out of the foot guards that we see here, so the 5.
Not very good with my military regiment. Go on, tell me.
Can you name any of them, or?
So like the Life Guards and the Blues and Royals and things, or are they?
So they'll be part of it, but they'll be the horse-mounted guards. I don't know where they sit actually. That's a good one back to me actually. I don't know where they sit in comparison to the.
So what are the 5?
To the household, yeah. So. I can always remember it with an acronym, which is Guards Change Step in Winter.
Yeah.
Grenadiers, Coldstream, Scots, Irish, Welsh. So that'll be the order they'll be on that statue there.
Okay.
So from left to right. So it's the Grenadier Guards who are the highest in the order of precedence, and then it goes Coldstream, Scots, Irish, Welsh.
There you go. I had no knowledge of that, so...
Yes!
Here, we're going along Birdcage Walk. Do you know why Birdcage Walk is called Birdcage Walk?
Is it because of the aviary, which would have been that building on the corner there, which was, I'm going to say Mr. Story, because it's Story's Gate. I can't remember what his name is, but the Birdcage Walk would have been an aviary at some point, but I can't give you any much more than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of half right. I mean, St James's Park used to be a royal park, of course, for the exclusive use of the royals, and they kind of kept a menagerie of exotic animals here. So there were crocodiles and camels and things like that. And then along this stretch, what is now Birdcage Walk, they had the aviaries of exotic birds. The building on the corner wasn't an aviary, but it is named after Edward Story, who was the keeper of the birds under Charles II, I think. So
yeah.
Half a point.
No, I'll give you a full one there. That was a real, just like, yeah, aviary. Like, there was nothing to that at all. I couldn't really discern much else there, so...
I never get taxis around central London. This feels like a bit of a treat.
Oh, yeah, there's still a metre to pay at the end, Jack.
Yeah, what?
So, the white facade, or all the frontage, this eastern side of Buckingham Palace that we see, and is in all the photos, obviously heavily renovated or a bit added onto this in the early 19th century. Do you know the name of the man who was first had a crack at the renovations to bring it up to the palace as we see it today?
So I think this facade was early 20th century. I think this was early 1900s and was Aston Webb.
Right, okay.
And then John Nash did some of the other bits in the early 19th century. So the back of it is that kind of golden sandstone.
I might be learning quite a lot here. Wait a minute. yeah.
John Nash, I think, did the...
That's sort of what I was alluding to, yeah.
Was that going to be your answer?
Yeah, because he done Marble Arch was his idea, and then that then got moved on, I believe.
Okay, I think it was too small, wasn't it, Marble Arch? I'm going to double check who the...
No, well intercepted though, yeah, so...
It was redesigned in 1913 by Sir Aston Webb. It says completed in 1850 by...
I was going to say, yeah, because it would have been there because this is when they... Oh, I should have gone for that fact, but yeah, the balcony where... it was Queen Victoria that made the tradition of standing on the balcony whenever big prominent events happened, because it was following the death of the Duke of Wellington in 1852. So I know at least the balcony and stuff like that would have been there between the mid-1800s.
Right.
But no, I was alluding to, the John Nash a bit beforehand, which would have been in the 30s, I believe, when John Nash was about. Was it 30s?
Yeah. He was around in the sort of 1820s, 1830s.
Yeah.
There's a tiny little detail on the inside of Admiralty Arch as you go through that has a sort of urban myth around it.
Oh, okay. Detail.
A little sculpture.
What, the London nose?
Yeah, the nose.
The noses, yeah.
Do you know the story behind it?
Was it an art installation?
It's got
a few of them around. There was one in Soho, there's one here. I can't...
Yeah, so they're kind of collectively known as the Seven Noses of Soho. They were installed by an artist called Rick Buckley in 1997. He put 35 noses across London in various locations around central London. And for about 20 years, no one knew where they came from. He sort of kept it to himself. And so all these urban myths and legends sprung up around it. So the urban myth behind the one on the inside of Admiralty Arch next to Trafalgar Square is that it's a spare nose for Nelson on his column. So you get all these great...
Because it's at a good height in there, isn't it?
It's not like... So if you're on a horse, it's at that height that you can reach it, because cavalry coming through would give it a little tweak on the nose.
Yeah, one of the examiners, a bit before my time, but they used to, again on the knowledge, because they can ask you just about anything, but they would ask to go from the London nose to the London eye.
Oh, really?
That was one of their questions they would ask. Above the west door of Westminster Abbey, as you've pointed out, there is, I think it's 10?
10, yeah.
Figures of Christian martyrs from the 20th century.
Yeah.
How can I word this? Or do you already know the answer? Or?
Well, I don't know.
Okay. Do you know who the one is with the boy at his feet? I've already given away a gender there.
I do know the answer to that one, I'm afraid, because I do come past here on one of my talks. That's Martin Luther King.
Yes! That's what I'm cheering for, because you got it right, but yeah. I love pointing that one out. Do you find people find that quite fascinating when they see that?
Yeah. It's one of my favourite facts to tell people, because it's something that people miss a lot when they come to Westminster Abbey. They think they're going to be these medieval saints and things like that.
I think when you see the outside here, the Hawksmoor columns and that, just how ancient it feels, like you say.
Yeah.
And yeah, you see something that's not even 100 years old. Like, as in terms of a person.
They've actually got their surnames underneath them, so you can see it says King underneath Martin Luther King.
Wicked.
The guy to his right is Oscar Romero, who's the assassinated Archbishop of El Salvador.
Right.
And if you you can see from here actually, you'll notice he's got glasses on.
Yep.
So that's obviously a bit of a sort of clue to the fact that these are newer statues than they might have first appeared. They're not a medieval saint because they wouldn't have had glasses on.
That's
so
awesome.
Kind of little clue, I suppose, that people miss.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't have thought about that really. The fact that he was wearing glasses means it must be modern, or more modern.
Well, modern-ish.
Modern-ish.
Oh, I've got another good one. It's kind of more of a story one, actually.
Yeah.
If you want it.
Sure, go for it, yeah.
So over on our right, you've got the Central Methodist Hall.
Yes.
Built in the early 20th century. Do you know what was stolen from there in 1966?
I'm just piecing this together in my head, right? So it's going to be a very educated guess. I'm going to say it's the World Cup trophy.
Oh, damn it. Yes, it was the World Cup trophy.
Oh,
the Jules Rimet, the trophy they use in the World Cup. So it was on display before the tournament, so people could come and see it.
Was it stolen by a dog?
No, it was discovered by a dog.
Discovered by a dog, right, okay, yeah.
So they never quite worked out who was behind it, but a ransom note was sent to the head of the FA, basically saying, give me £15,000 and I'll return your trophy. And they just, meet me at this point. So they turn up to this point with the police in tow and just arrest the guy that was there. It wasn't a very well thought through plan, but he denied being the brains behind the operation. He said he was just a middleman.
Yeah.
But the trophy itself turned up, I think 7 days later, something like that, turned up wrapped in newspaper under the front wheel of a car in Upper Norwood, obviously south London. Yeah, it was discovered by a black and white collie, a dog called Pickles. And his owner David Corbett on their morning walk around that area, sort of snuffling around.
I'm going to give you the point for that one there, Jack, because I didn't actually know the fact. I think we're going by the game. No, I didn't know the fact. It was only because it was like, it's 1966, obviously it's quite prominent for England winning the World Cup.
Maybe I should have just said what was stolen from them.
Yeah, but no, I'm giving you the point for that one because I honestly didn't know that, so I will use that now. Winston Churchill, actually.
Yeah.
His head was removed when they first cast that statue for fear that it looked like someone else.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I've never heard this.
I believed it bear too much a resemblance to the Italian Mussolini.
Oh.
So they had to remove the head because it was like, well, look, they've just put this big statue of Mussolini up in Parliament Square. If it's wrong and I've made that up, Jack, then you get the point for me trying to bluff you, basically.
Officials worried that the famous statue of Sir Winston Churchill bore a resemblance to Mussolini. Yeah, so the sculptor was asked to reduce the dome of the forehead.
So it wasn't a decapitation then?
It wasn't a decapitation.
I've gone a bit too far. What did it bear resemblance to Mussolini?
It was Mussolini, yeah.
Can we have half of that?
Oh yeah, that's a great fact. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, all around here you've got the lampposts with the W and the CC on that you get in Westminster. Do you know what those letters stand for?
The County Council?
Yes, yes, it is. It's so the W is Westminster, and then the two C's are City Council, basically. But the urban myth behind it is that the Duke of Westminster dated Coco Chanel, I think in the 1920s, and so the urban myth is that it's a romantic gesture from the Duke of Westminster to Coco Chanel because it looks like the Chanel logo.
Obviously, the Duke of Westminster did date the Coco Chanel though, so it is embodied with truth, right? But it's like,
yeah, I suppose there's
almost too close of like a resemblance for it to not be.
There's always usually a sort of grey. These stories have usually come from somewhere, haven't they?
Cleopatras Needle is an ancient Egyptian artifact. It's part of a matching set. Do you know where the other one is? What other major city has the other one?
So the other one's in Central Park, isn't it, in New York?
It is indeed, yeah. Do you know those Sphinx? They're pointing the wrong way, aren't they? They're supposed to be pointing outwards.
Yeah, the Sphinx should be, as per sort of Egyptian tradition, they should be guarding the needle, so looking out from it, not looking in from it.
I realise saying to you, Jack, do you know that Like, it's going to generally end with, yeah, well, of course, Tom, like, I do this. I'm like, yeah.
I'll throw one back to you on Cleopatra's Needle, if you like.
Oh, go on, yeah.
Do you know what's buried underneath it?
I do not know what's buried underneath it.
So there's a time capsule underneath Cleopatra's Needle that when they erected it, they put a time capsule underneath it. There's all sorts of, there's sort of cigarette cards. There's a portrait of Queen Victoria. There's some quite odd things. There's like a baby's bottle. Very, very odd. There's a razor, some coins. And my personal favourite thing that's in there are 12 photographs of English beauties of the day. I don't know what they were hoping for with any of them, but...
No, it just gets dug up by like a load of like men who are like, what? Or how good were the women looking of the day, you know? Or...
I don't know. Yeah.
I think that gets you on to 4, Jack, and I'm on 2.5. So I think in penalty shootout fashion, I'm officially lost. You are the winner. Jack, thank you so much for your time today. Where can people find out a bit more about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so you can find out more about what I do on my website, livinglondonhistory.com. I run guided tours of London's hidden history and put lots of content across my socials as well, which we'll put links to in the description of the video. And I've got a book out called London, A Guide for Curious Wanderers, all about the little details that you can see around London, the symbols, the street furniture, beautifully illustrated with some self-guided walks, available online, Amazon, Waterstones, independent bookshops and gift shops across London.
Thanks again for watching this video. If you've enjoyed this, you might enjoy the video where I take another London tour guide, Sinead, and we drive around Beatles sites, and specifically how I know where they're placed in London. I'll leave that over here for you. See you again soon. Bye-bye.